Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Rysel 1919. Um, I'm in a better mood today, I think. I haven't changed my mind. I'm sure nobody has. Anybody that wants the manager here, they'll want the manager here. Anybody that wants the manager gone, they'll want the manager gone. Um, we sort of need to caveat that with depending on who we bring in. Um, if the manager goes, ultimately it's back to the 49ers. They're going to have to get it right. And I suppose the question is, as I said yesterday, I don't think it's if, it's going to be when Farke goes. As I said in numerous videos as well, like at the end of the day, there's no way that the 49ers are going to want to take the blame. I know we can attribute blame to them a lot. Transfer market, there's plenty of things they've got wrong. Plenty of things they got wrong. However, they have to get it right at management level. Daniel Farke, if he stays for the next few games, which I don't get. Uh, they need to be looking. They need to be looking now. Um, if he gets the next 8 games, I can't see anything like that happening. Then you may as well stick them to the end of the season and throw as much money behind them as you can in the January transfer window. I just don't think he gets that far. I don't think we're going to be in the bottom three after the next 4 games. I don't think Daniel Farke is getting anywhere near. My thoughts are obviously this window. This is a big window. Farke got sacked at Norwich in 2021 in this window. But there's been a lot of management shift during this window, and it's primarily because of the transfer window coming up. It's to give a new manager time to look at the team that he's got. How can he change things? I'll give you an example. Nuno went in at West Ham. They started out horrendously poorly, really, really poorly. We beat them, obviously, and he's since turned it. It's took him a while to get his philosophy built into West Ham. But that's what good managers do. They come in, they assess, they look at everything they do, everything they've got, see what limitations there are in the squad and play to their strengths. Their strengths are, in my opinion, Fernandes, Potts, Souček in the midfield, more running, a wee bit of a balance in the midfield, more cover for Souček, and physicality and height with him. It frees up their attacking players, Paqueta and Bowen specifically. Not delving into West Ham, but that's what I sort of envisaged or what was hoping for with Leeds, is that you bring a man in, give him 10 days in the window, or not in the window, in this international window. Have a look at the players that we have at the club, because we still have quite a few players that are not in internationals. And then when the boys come back, I think they come back with 3 days, some of them 3 days before the game. Look, if you're bringing a manager in, they don't necessarily need to see the day in and the day out. They're going to have watched all our games this season. They're going to know what our limitations are. They're going to know what our best parts of our game are. But ultimately, over the next 4 games, they'll be able to assess the character, the desire, the hunger, the aptitude of their technical ability, but also their mental capability throughout the football game. And they'll be able to see, can I trust X, Y, or Z? And if not, well, now then, after those 4 games, which we know they're probably the toughest you could face at the minute, if you take Aston Villa out and stick Liverpool or somebody in, or Arsenal, what you do is then, you have another 4 before the window. You try to implement as best you can your philosophy to get to the window, and then in the window, you know where you want to strengthen. Now, saying that, there is discontent within the fan base, between people who like Farke, people who don't want him in. People saying, have you ever been behind Farke? Have you ever supported him? And my truthful answer to that, and it's not just to me, it was in general the fan base. No, did I ever support Farke? Honestly, my opinion on Farke is this: when Farke come in, I thought he was handed an absolute shit show when he first came in the championship. We had lost players. We were in a bit of a financial nightmare, and he had a build. And I had given him so much grace, and I thought at the beginning of the season it's going to be tough, but we're going to bring players in, and it's going to take time. As the season went on, it was clear that we, in my opinion, had the best, or one of the best teams in the championship, without question. And he got those 90 points. We know how that ended up. At the end of that season, I questioned him. I was on. There was times it was like, I can't deal with him. He needs to go. There was too many excuses. He needs to go. But then there were other times where I was like, the cards he was dealt with wasn't fair. So the second season, I went in the second season and went, you know what? I still have some doubts. However, this is probably the best man for the job. He had won the championship twice before. And at that time, there was a few managers probably that, like Chris Whaler and people that got at that level, that were very good. And I thought Daniel Farke was at that level and higher. However, as the season went on, I started to waver in the tough times. And at the end of the season, obviously, we're buzzing. We got over the line. But let's be honest, I just think he is a very limited manager when it comes to top flight football. I think if Leeds went down this season with Daniel Farke in charge, we would have a very good chance of getting back up. However, we're 11 games into the season. So you have to ask yourself the question, and I'm just being honest, that's where I was with Farke. I am clearly in the camp now, at this point, that I want Farke replaced. You have to ask yourself the question, and it's a very simple question. Do you give up now after 11 games and just hold on to him and go down, and then try to back him next season or over the summer and come back up? And people can say that, oh, you haven't given him a chance. Our next 4 games, we quite possibly, quite probably will be on 11 points. The likelihood is Forest and West Ham, who are in both good form, they're going to pick up points. They don't need to pick up 9 or 12 over the next 4. They only need to pick up 1 and 2 and 3. I can't see us picking up any points against the 4 teams that we're playing. Villa, Unai Emery, brilliant manager, and they're back in form. Chelsea, look, Chelsea's Chelsea. Chelsea's a very, very good team, full of athletic, talented young men that I don't think we can get near. Man City are like, and to be honest with you, I think Man City and Liverpool is probably trying not to get hammered. And that's not defeatist, it's realist. That is me being real. But whenever it comes to after the 4 games and we're in the relegation zone, if that's the case, when do we decide? When do we pull the pin? I've seen different people online, as in ex-players, and they're all saying the same thing about Farke. They're all saying, ex-managers are saying it about, this is critical. Like, as in, his position is in danger. It's very critical, as in, he probably will go. If he doesn't go over the next day or two, unless he's away or he's off or whatever, I can't see him going over the international break. But it baffles me because I don't understand what the 49ers could possibly be mulling over. And the reason why I say that, I'm going to look at a few statistics between, and it's points per game, things like that, between a few of the managers that are linked to Leeds and a few of the monies that we have currently, and see exactly where we go. And I want to make clear, Corbyn yesterday, I seen Danny was saying about, he said, oh, was it because he's Bielsa? No, I, I try to be as fair and balanced as I can, Danny, to be honest with you. Um, in my opinion, Corbyn, is he better than Farke? Probably not. Probably not. Possibly. But do we need better? I think so. My personal opinion, we need better than Corbyn. But I tried to do a bit of a dive into Corbyn, his tactics, the reasons why. There's a lot of very different reasons why Valencia are where they are. And people look at a table and go, yeah, he's shit, it's fourth and bottom. No way, Valencia fourth and bottom, that's mad. But you have to look into the history and what's happened at the club to understand the challenge he's up against. It's not just for him. Now, the challenge Daniel Farke, now you have to revert that. The challenge that Daniel Farke has in Leeds is massive. It's the Premier League, let's be honest. It is a massive challenge. We know that. However, we've spent 100 million. And people can say it's not enough, and that's fine. I understand that. We have a striker in Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and people can debate all they want about Dominic Calvert-Lewin. My point about DCL is this: he's played the last 8 seasons in the Premier League. 8. He's an England international, and he's fit. Are we honestly playing to his strengths? Honestly, I would suggest not. Personally, I would suggest definitely not. And I'll give you a stat. One shot on target, and this is the match I'm talking about, last game. One shot on target in the first half, and it was a goal. Very, very good goal. Nemacha came in for DCL. He had Okafor. He had Aronson behind him, or in the wings. They were miles from him. Miles and miles from him. You're too isolated. And to be fair, it was a great finish. Great finish from Nemacha. But we need to create far more chances. We need to get, people can talk about the midfield and all the rest. I have massive problems with our midfield. Going forward, they offer nothing or very little at all. Defensively, they're losing their runners. They're not tracking. And the fact is, if you look at that midfield, the captain's in there, Ampadu. You've Stack. You've Tanaka's been involved as well. And you have Longstaff. Bournemouth. 3 goals. No, not Bournemouth. How did we get beat by 3-0? Okay. Oh, Brighton. 3 of our goals against Brighton, each one of them were for cutbacks. You look where our centre halves are. Our centre halves are defending the goal line, and the cutbacks are going back to a striker or a 10. Donny Welbeck scored, and I was Gomez a couple of times. But on each occasion, we had absolutely none of our midfielders near the goal scorer. Nowhere near it. Then, if you look at the Forest game, Morgan Gibbs-White, header, nobody tracking the runner. There's nothing Bijol or Rodon can do. If you put a strike in there, it's going to be the same thing. The one thing I will say about Strike over Bijol is Strike is better at carrying the ball out from the back. He's more comfortable and it's natural balance on the left. Personally, I think it's come a point where we've got to get all 3 of them men in. Rodon loves to carry the ball out. Strike loves to carry the ball out. Bijol just loves defending. So stick him in the centre, put Rodon to his right and Strike to his left. Play to our strengths. It gives us that wee bit more. We have conceded 20 goals in the league this season. 20 goals in 11 games. We are scoring less than a goal a game. We've scored 10 goals in 11 games. So if we're conceding less than a goal a game and conceding approximately 2 goals a game, that's not good. We've scored 3 goals away from home, I think it is, all season. We've lost 4 out of the last 5 in general. And we've lost 5 out of 6 on the road. That's not staying up. That's not going to keep us up. Whether you're Farke in or Farke out, I'm not trying to make this personal today, but whether you're Farke in or Farke out, we have to acknowledge this is not sustainable. It's not keeping us in this league. It just isn't. We all agree that the level is a way above of what we're showing right now. We cannot continue in this vein of form, because if we do, we will get tanked by Villa. We will get tanked by Man City. We will get hammered by Chelsea and by Liverpool. And there's no getting away from that. So something has got to change. Something has to change. Man City, Aston Villa, Liverpool and Chelsea, what have they all got in common? Their midfields are strong. They dominate the ball. They're not afraid of a tackle. They run. They're athletes. All of them. You have the champions last season. You have the FIFA World Club champions. You have Man City. And you have a Unai Emery team who, let's be honest, Villa they've started out poorly, but they are motor and they're purring. They're only a couple of points outside European places again. They're back to close to their best. So let's be brutally honest. We need something to change. We have to have something to change. If Farke is there against Villa, that formation, even if Dan James is fit or if Willie's fit, we have to change it. We have got to get to a point where the other team is looking at our team going, they've got Willie on the pitch through the centre, Okafor from the left, Dan James from the right, striker up front. They've got attack and output. Why not take the game and play 4-2-3-1? Why can't we do that? Just take the game. If you think you're going to get beat by City, go out swinging. Go out swinging. Try and get a couple of goals. Attack them. Play long ball. We can get at them. But every game this season we played 4-3-3. Willie Nanto, fully fit, didn't even make the last matchday squad. There's questions, a lot of questions that must be answered. Focusing on Daniel James, there's a couple of wee bits, Daniel Farke. There's a couple of wee things I want to raise. What we all know him from is his Norwich days, his Championship days, his Premier League time, and then leaving, and then coming back to Leeds. Well, people always talk about points per game, and this points per game thing drives me mad. Oh, well, we're sitting on 1 point per game. Oh, we're sitting 1 point a game. Right, after 15 games, as I said, are we going to look and go, well, we're on 11 points in 15 games. With 4 winnable games next, what we'll do, or maybe not winnable, but definitely we can get points in them. So say you get 3 points out of the next 4, or say even 5 points out of the next 4. So you're now sitting on 16 points out of 20. You're now well under the, or 19 or 20 games. You're now well under the 1 point a game average. Do you sack him at that point? We'll have to answer these questions. We'll have to. That argument is going to run out. The argument of 1 point per game is going to run out. West Ham have got their act together. Nottingham Forest have got their act together. Right. Championship 27-2018. Daniel Farke had 46 games at Norwich City. 46 games. He had 60 points, averaging 1.3 points per game. Following season, he had a very good season. He obviously took him up 2.04. That's the season he took him up. First season in the Premier League. 38 games managed, 21 points. 0.55 points per game. Now, people will say he wasn't backed. Okay, he wasn't backed. Following season in the Championship, he went in the Championship 46 games. He had 97 points. Again, he got over the 2 point mark. He got back up. Following season in the Premier League, he had 11 games. Norwich decided to bite the bullet. Why? Because he got 5 points. His average was 0.45 per game. So, as I have said, Daniel Farke at Norwich was a success and a failure. He's a failure in the Premier League, but a success in the Championship. At Leeds, he came in 46 games, 90 points, that trophy that we hang up in the trophy room, 1.96 points per game. Following season, we know it's a 100-point season. He gets 2.17. We drew with Burnley, obviously, as well. This season, obviously, we have played 11 games. We have 11 points. And we are sitting on 1 point per game at the minute. Now, there are caveats that we've already discussed. My point about Daniel Farke at this stage is this. Daniel Farke, without question, is one of the best Championship managers in the history of the Championship. He has won it 3 times. He's come second on at least one occasion anyway. There's only a select few that have done that. And I take my hat off to him for that. And I thank him for getting us out of that league. 100%. No doubt. However, the stats that I've just read about the Premier League do not lie. They don't lie. It's 2 times in the Premier League before. No, in an entire season with Norwich, 0.55 points per game. The following season, he got them back to the Premier League. After 11 games, he was sacked. 0.45. We are currently on 1 point per game, and we're coming in to the hardest group of fixtures we've encountered this season. The likelihood is we're going under 1 point a game, and that is relegation. Staring us in the face. Let's be honest. We have to be. Now, the reason why I highlight this is because there's a number of managers that we have seen that are linked. I'm gonna look at their points per game as well. And I am not saying I want these people in. What I am saying is this. These people, do they compare to Daniel Farke? Are they attainable? Or are they not good enough for the level? Number 1. Number 2, as I say, there's a lot of people actually. I've seen a couple of things that apparently Leeds gave the dreaded kiss of death last night. Apparently they came out and they've said, oh, his job's safe. No, I haven't seen any reporting on that. I've seen it in X. These ITKs are coming out and saying, oh, he's getting sacked today. Oh, and he's not. He's going. You know what? Until we know, we won't know. As I said about Graham Smith yesterday and people like that, I love those guys. They're very good. I read their content. However, they will not know until it is the 49ers have made that decision. And as of right now, the local journals are being kept in the cold. Not just in relation to this, in relation to transfers, in relation to new. The only time the local journals actually, if you look at it, really be encouraged into the account with the 49ers tends to be in and around stadium plans, breaking news about that. Because it's all positive. That's all positivity. When it comes to the players and the management, the last 2 weeks of the window, for example, the club went quiet. Dead quiet. Dead. No contact from anyone to anybody. We just seen the failure. What do the club do? They close ranks. Don't talk to the journals at all. We've seen about the camp with Perry going to Germany, signing for Leeds. Brian Cross put out a post saying, no, Leeds are happy with the keepers, not saying any keeper. An hour later, Lucas Perry signed for Leeds. And they were at the camp. So the 49ers are keeping everything in-house. We will know nothing until we know. They will let us know. And I am 100% sure if I'm an investor into Leeds United and I'm looking at this going, we're in the Premier League, we've invested X amount of pounds and we want a return, or we want X, Y, or Z as promised. We have to stay in the Premier League. Have to. We want a new team. We need to sack this man. And we need to bring somebody in. This isn't about whether you like Daniel Farke as a person or anything like that. This is about cold, hard facts. It's about cash for the investors. It's also about staying in the Premier League for advertisers, for stadium. People can say all they want. Oh, they're going to build it, and they're going to build it in the Championship. They're going to build a 60,000 seater stadium in the Championship. How do you suppose we finance that? How do you suppose they can put a business plan together that passes PSR, that passes all these different avenues? Yes, you can write a lot of the stadium costs off, but a lot you can't. In the Premier League, we need the big bucks, we need the sponsors, we need a global eyes on the team, on the club. We need massive. We don't need a Hollywood celebrity investing. We need people from around the world, like the Peter Loeys of the world, who are billionaires in their own right, coming in and investing in Leeds United. That has the expertise to upgrade everything around the stadium, from the toilets to the bars to the actual stands. Those are the people we need to invest in the club. And if you're not at the top table, you might as well not be in the room. Because a Bournemouth that aren't going down to Brighton, that aren't going down, they're run well. And why are they run well? Because they've been in the Premier League. They're making their 300 million a year with their advertising, their sponsors, their Premier League money, their place selling of players. They're making a lot more than that too. We need to be there for sustainability. Our club's a massive club, but it's a massive club that needs to be at the big table because we need the income. If we stay in the Premier League for 2 or 3 years and are run correctly, we will make a clean fortune. We will be back in a year or two. I mean, back. But right now, this is a hard time for hard decisions. Big men have to make big decisions. That's why on this list, I don't want anybody to get offended. Have a read at the list. See the stats. See if I'm wrong. I'm just talking facts. And facts don't care about your feelings. So, first of all, we're going to start with Marco Reus. Now, he started at Lokomotiv Leipzig. He done a lot of. I think he grew up in Leipzig actually. I'm going to talk about his first stint though in management and senior management, because he had a few junior managements. His first stint at senior management, RB Leipzig. So people go, it's Leipzig or RB Salzburg. Salzburg doesn't matter. They run that league and all the rest. Well, not right now. They don't. But he had 114 games winning trophies over there. His points per game is 2.35 per game in 114 games. So I think that's good. People will say, caveat that with the fact that it's a big club, big sponsorship, big money in Austria. So moving forward, he left there. And he left there of his own accord. He was poached by Borussia Mönchengladbach. And we knew Gladbach. And why do we know Gladbach? It was Daniel Farke managed there, didn't he? I just checked that. Yep, he did. Daniel Farke managed there for a grand total of 36 games, amassing 1.28 points per game at Borussia Mönchengladbach. Rysel managed for 88 games and he averaged at 1.61 per game. It's a huge difference between coming fourth from bottom and coming maybe mid-table. That's the difference there. Rysel obviously was topped up by Borussia Dortmund. He had a full season at Borussia Dortmund. Did alright, but he ultimately fell short of top honours with Borussia Dortmund and ended up on a 1.85 average over that season. They held him for the entire 1 year, and then after that, Leipzig bought him. They got him. They took him in. So he was out without work for a couple of months, and RB Leipzig took him in, which is a huge German club. Again, under the Red Bull umbrella. He ended up 124 games in charge, and he averaged, and this in the league, averaged 1.85 points per game. Exactly the same as Borussia Dortmund. However, when he was at Leipzig, he has won the German Cup, the German Super Cup, beating the likes of Bayern Munich, etc. along the way. After he gets sacked from Leipzig, he's now on a free. Now, people can look at different things and go, yeah, he was sacked at Leipzig. Yeah, but Leipzig's a Champions League and European Cup, Europa League team regularly. So he is used to bringing a player to, or the club to there. They failed last season in securing any silverware in relation to Europe. And ultimately that's what led to his demise. The European side of things. It wasn't really to do with the uh, the the league, because ultimately RB Leipzig is one of the top clubs in that league, and they've got some real top players as well. Now Corbyn's quite a. This is what puts Corbyn way down the list for me. So you can go to the different clubs, but the ones that the Greek clubs and stuff. But we're going to talk about Huddersfield. Took over, did well with Huddersfield. Over 102 games. He had a bad last season, which brings his average down, but 1.41. That's why he's ended up leaving there. But he went to Olympiacos again. We have to caveat the Olympiacos one because he was only there for just like 6 weeks. He had 11 games. However, he got 1.45 points per game. This is Corbyn. We know who the owner is. That's probably nowhere near enough for Olympiacos, who need to be challenging there. But they were going through turmoil at the time as well, just like Forest were at the beginning of this season. That's what that man does. Now we flip back to England. He went to West Brom. He had 107 games, all in the Championship, 1.59 points per game. And now he's at Valencia. He's at Valencia from December last year, and he's currently at Valencia. So in total, he's got 1.47 points per game. And at the minute, they're sitting, as I said yesterday, they're sitting 4 points in fourth bottom in the league, one place above relegation, but he's joint points with the third bottom. I don't think he personally is the right man for the job, but he's definitely worth a conversation. Definitely worth a conversation. Why not? We need to change. As I say, it's not a matter of if, it's when. Roberto Mancini. I'm going to fly through this. His time. His time early 2000s. So I'm going to his time in England. So he came to England from from Inter Milan, 2.12 points per game. Man City, he had 191 games. 1.97. Galatasaray, 46 games, 1.89. Inter Milan, he went back whenever they went through all their struggles. He kept them afloat, 1.64. He left to go to Zenit St. Petersburg, 1.76. Italy national team, 2.17. Saudi Arabia, obviously that's different caveat because they're a lot less. It's just big money. And he was only there for about a year. Or a year and a half, something like that. My point is this. Can we get Mancini? Why not? If Nottingham Forest were close to getting Mancini, why can we not go and show ambition and get Mancini? Do we want Mancini? We have to get real. If you can get the likes of Roberto Mancini or Rosa, and they're just two of the people I'm looking at, they're both levels above Farke. They have both done it at the highest level. Roberto Mancini has won international trophies with his country. He's won Premier Leagues. He has won at nearly every club he's been at. And he was going to go to Forest. Why can the 49ers not go and speak to Mancini? Have the conversation. It might be pie in the sky from me. However, if he was close to going to Forest, we have got to get that conversation going. Give him whatever it takes to come in. Is he the best out there of the available managers? I don't know. But his resume, his style, he doesn't need to be here 10 years. He just needs to set us up for 2 to 3 years. And then it's up to us to get the right man. But we have to back him. There has to be money pumped in January. There has to be. The gravitas of the man and his backroom team would attract players of such a good and high caliber. We just don't have that with Daniel Farke right now. We just don't. I think it's crazy if you don't have the conversation. Likewise with Rysel, which is probably more realistic. He's without job. Both of them are without a job actually. So there's no bonuses around you have to pay another club or anything like that. Go and bring them in. Go and bring in Rysel. Get him in. Sell him the project. And the project is this. Red Bull are in charge. Not in charge. They're involved. Red Bull are involved in our club. Whether people like it or not, Red Bull are involved in our club. Red Bull has employed this man twice. He's in the 2 Red Bull clubs he's been involved in. He has won at both clubs twice. He left of his own accord from Salzburg, and he was sacking because of poor European performance, because they backed him. Right, bring him in Leeds. Bring him into Leeds. The stats don't lie. The points per game don't lie. He's not afraid of a challenge. He has won cups at the highest level in Germany, in Austria. He's managed in the Champions League and the Europa League. He's a level up from Daniel Farke, let's be honest. Whether you're Farke in or whether you're Farke out, this video is not made today to trigger anybody, to piss people off. What I did this video today for, and I don't know whether, since I've been on, has anything changed this morning. However, what I'm going to say is this. Let's be honest about it. Farke is probably going to go. It's just when. So the 49ers have got to be doing their homework on who to bring in, when to bring them in. The under 21s are playing last night. Actually, Mahadi, brilliant. His feet, brilliant. A couple of very good saves. Done well, down to 10 men for most part of the game. Just ran out of legs at the end. And Harry Gray, I think he got one at the end. Listen, there's another thing. We need to start talking about the young lads. I hate the fact that Daniel Farke continuously diminishes the young lads, and then the way he talked about Harry Gray at the start of the season and all that. And at the time, it was like, keep his feet in the ground. But now, when you look at it from every young lad that was coming through, there just seems to be an issue with every single one of them. Why? Why are they all wrong? Anyway, this is not meant to trigger you today. It's meant to invoke a bit of a discussion around management, where we're going to be going. And it's meant to, I'm just throwing I'm trying to throw some options out there, because we all know what's happening. It's just a matter of time. But I will be on in a wee while as well. Possibly if there's any issues come out of the club today, we'll see. But just over the next 10 days, obviously, we have got internationals on. But a few concerns. James, Darlow, Ampadu and Rodon are all with Wales. Obviously with Perry at the club, Darlow away, that's fine. James I'm concerned about, because I'm just hoping he's fit, and I hope he stays fit, because we need Dan James for a counter-attack. Simple as that. And if James doesn't play against Villa and Daniel Farke is still here, I swear to God my TV's gone through the window. Aronson is playing. He's away to USA. He's in the international squad for USA v Paraguay, USA v Uruguay. There's quite a bit of a journey as well to those places, so that concerns me. If he's going to play him over James, there's something not right. Goodmanson, it's not too far. It's Sweden and Slovenia, which is good. Bijol's Slovenia and then Sweden, which is the same as Goodmanson, which is good. Gruev is away to Turkey, and then he's at home in Bulgaria. He's a bit part player anyway, so that doesn't matter. So we're quite okay when it comes to internationals. We just want people to come through them fit. That's the main thing. Now, to finish off the video, and I know this is a long one, and I don't really care. This season, we have seen Marco Silva, just the last manager I want to touch on. Marco Silva. He's managed a number of clubs in the Premier League, currently the Fulham manager, and there's a bit of an impasse whenever it comes to his position at Fulham. Would you take him at Leeds? Would you take him at Leeds? Possibly. And I'll tell you what, I think is he better than Farke? I think so. And I'll give you a few stats. Daniel Farke has managed Leeds and Norwich. He's managed 60. This is a big stat I seen yesterday. 60 games in the Premier League. Daniel Farke has managed 60 games in the Premier League in his time in English football. He has won 9, drawn 10, and lost 41. I'm going to say that again. Daniel Farke has managed 2 teams, Norwich and Leeds. In his time, he's managed 60 games in the Premier League. Won 9. He's drawn 10. He's lost 41 games in 60. Daniel Farke has a 15% win rate. How does anybody think that's enough? Marco Silva, on the other hand, has 4 different teams. 4 different teams with 4 different challenges. That's okay. He's at 220 games. So, he's at about 4 times as much as Daniel Farke. Right. He has won 78 of those games. He's drawn 45 of those games. And he's lost 97. That's a 35.5% win rate. When you calculate his win rate compared to Daniel Farke's, is 3 times as much in its entirety. Well, 2.5 times as much in its entirety over 4 times as many games. At 4 times the club, or sorry, twice the clubs, he's at 4 clubs. Look, you cannot turn around if Fulham do mess up and he goes, you gotta get in there. This is a Nuno moment. This is where Forest messed up with Nuno and West Ham jumped on it. West Ham had to jump on that. We should have jumped on it. But if this happens with Fulham, jump on it. Go and get him in. Get him in the conversation. The people that I've talked about today in this video, you have Roberto Mancini, you have Daniel Farke, you have Corbin, Mancini, Rysel, and Marco Silva. Marco Silva, Rysel, Mancini are all a level, I think, above Daniel Farke. That's not a debate. It's just facts, and the figures back them all up. Listen, I want to thank you for tuning in this long. It's been a long video. I'm seriously considering doing a live soon, getting people in just to chat. Doesn't matter what side you are on, whether you're pro or anti Farke, doesn't matter. It's just talk all things Leeds. Tossing the idea up. I'm thinking of doing it with my father, and maybe we'll see. Maybe get a few people in. They can come online, or they can chat this or whatever, or they can come on just full time. We'll chat, and I prefer like a range of different opinions. If 3 or 4 people wanted to come on, it'd be great. But just a range of opinions, and let's batter it out. Let's have a debate. If we don't have to fall out. You can respect somebody's opinion whilst having a different opinion. That's what it's all about. As I say, we're Leeds fans. We're not here, and we're not feeling it like this because we don't love the club. We do love the club. We wear the club. The crest. I'm looking at myself on the camera. The crest is on our heart. There's a reason for. It's emblazoned in us. The blood runs through your veins and it pumps, and it's our family, it's our heritage, it's everything. People completely underestimate what this club means to some people. The vast majority of Leeds fans. All of us. It just doesn't dictate how your weekend goes. It dictates how your week goes. It can dictate how we were so used to feeling down, defeated in League One. But you know what? I was there in those days. I loved it. Us against the world mentality. 17,000 people at Allen Road in the freezing cold. And the noise was so intimidating. Maybe more. There was 20,000 at times or more. Back to the championship. That Jermaine Bagford goal actually to get us up. And back to the championship. And the club started to find its feet again. We started to show promise. Under Bielsa, it was like electric. The youth that we were losing to other clubs that we shouldn't be losing fell in love with the way we played and how we played and what we meant to the communities, and from countries around the world. I meet people whenever I go over, from England, from Leeds, from all over England, from Scotland, from Sweden, from Norway. The Norwegians out there represent Ireland, all over the world. I've got US, everywhere, coming to support Leeds. And why? Because Bielsa came back and he gave us hope and desire. And he gave us that heart back that we always had. We were always a sleeping giant. We need to learn how to roar. We need to learn how to roar. And that's where it brings it today. We need to know how to roar. And I think we have to change the manager to find who we really are. He brought us to a level. Thank you, Daniel. But it's time to hand the reins to somebody else. Thanks for watching. Marching on together.